order. Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Dodge,
Here.
Commissioner Lieberman, Commissioner Rice.
Here. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. All right. So our very first item today, we get to have a presentation on the Bike Miami Valley. Laura Espandias going to give us an update.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Was there a clicker? Okay. So, well, thanks for having me. My name is Laura Espandia. I'm the Executive Director of Bike Miami Valley. Here today to talk about the Link Dayton Bike Share program. I believe the last time I was here was 2019, providing an update on the program. We've made a lot of changes since then. It was 4 times, as I think we now call it, but excited to share what we've been up to at that time. So Link, since its founding in 2015, has had 21,000 users take advantage of the program. They've taken more than 160,000 trips in the lifetime of the program. In 2020, we also added 100 electric bicycles to our existing pedal bike fleet, and we grew from 27 locations to 37 last year. Last time I was here, I talked a little bit about the evolution of the bike share. So we started out as a station-based program, which you see on the left, on the advent of the dockless bike share movement. Pictured on the right, we pursued a hybrid model to allow Link to become less capital intensive to expand. So we evolved to a hub-based system where people still park the bike at our locations, need to be tethered to them so that they end up in places in public right-of-way where they're not supposed to be, blocking pedestrian users. But it requires less infrastructure. So we could set up some bike racks, zone in our app that this is the parking space for the bike, and the area is set up. The pandemic has certainly had an impact on bike share as a whole. Some cities, as the pandemic ramped up, saw an increased use in bike share as essential workers needed to get to their places of work. Programs offered incentives for folks to be able to use the bikes to avoid other forms of public transportation that may have been seen as more risky at the time. And some cities, as their urban cores shut down, saw a big dip in ridership. We were part of the latter. What we saw very early on is that those morning and afternoon kind of lunchtime trips really petered out during the course of the pandemic. That has relatively stayed fairly consistent even into 2021. But last year, we did just under 14,000 trips for the year, which is largely what has been down number-wise. Our unique user number, folks using the program, has fared much better. We see similar number of people using the system year to year, even in 2020 and 2021, but they're just taking fewer trips overall. Last year, the county-sponsored location at the job center, we saw more than 50 check-ins and checkouts, 500 at the West 3rd location outside of this building, and there were 750 trips on the bike. Another major update is that Bike Miami Valley will be taking over full operations of the Link Dayton Bike Share program from Greater Dayton RTA. RTA, as you know, has had issues hiring drivers, keeping their core system running at the level they would like it to be. They're going to become a sponsor of the program, and our organization will take over their operations staff and be able to have more flexibility in hiring than we did in the former month. So, we're seeing that as an opportunity to work with the county programs, to work with the job center, as we look to hire new staff. Another neat thing we got to do last year, since we now have an app-based platform, we can put banners up there to ask folks to take surveys for us to get feedback on our system. So this summer, we ran a user demographic survey. We always had a great understanding of who our annual member rider was, and that largely skewed male, white, college educated, et cetera, what you typically see across bike share programs. But when we surveyed our casual ridership, we saw that actually ridership is more diverse than we thought it was. So we see close to a 50-50 split of male and female ridership in our system, which is not as common in other cities, and I think speaks to the comfort level of folks being able to ride on our streets and on our trails. We also saw that we have roughly 28% African American ridership, which is much larger of a pie chunk than our ridership, for example. So that was a really cool thing that we got to do this past year and hope to continue next summer. As far as economic impact, we did see increased trip activity once Out on Fifth started in downtown. So our locations, we have 2 locations kind of bookending the Oregon district. We saw a combined 31% jump in trip activity there with the start of that program. We also know that more than 80% of our users make purchases when they ride. So when they do ride, they are going out to a restaurant, going to lunch, they're stopping by a local store, things like that. Another kind of fun fact from this past year is that the e-bikes have really helped us not have to worry about the topography of Dayton as much. We have a location on Grafton Hill outside of the Art Institute. If you've ever tried to ride that hill, it's a pretty steep one. So it takes good calf muscles to be able to get up that one. But we did see a 200% increase in trips at that location with the addition of the electric bike. One of the other promises of this new model is that it would be easier for us to move locations for special events and other programming. So whenever Oktoberfest would happen, we usually have to shut down that location because of where the Porta-John is at, quite frankly, in their event footprint. But this year, that was not an issue. When they held the event, we were able to move our bike rack and set up a place for people to ride to the event. As I alluded to earlier, we did expand in 2022. City of Dayton supported new locations in the Carillon and Huffman neighborhoods of Dayton. Care Source also added a couple locations downtown. Five Rivers did one at Deep Metro Park, and he added on there. Ooh, there's a map of what that looks like. The orange is what we added in May, and at UD, blue. Yeah. Another bright spot of 2021 was a grant we secured with 115 Recovery through the Better Bike Share program, which is a national organization that supports bike equity and bike share, outreach programs, things of that nature. And so we co-authored a grant with them to be able to provide linked passes and also cycling safety classes to the staff and patients at that location. We also, a link location was added outside of 115 Recovery as part of the expansion. So it was a great way to kind of leverage that new asset and also get folks riding that location. This is a quote from one of the staff members at 115 Recovery. She said, "I was skeptical about getting on the bike at first, but now I ride 2 miles every day after work. I love the bike." So we got a lot of great feedback from both staff and patients that it was really helpful for their mental health to go out and ride the bikes, whether it was after a tough session they might have had or to get some exercise throughout the day. So really optimistic we can keep that program going through the spring and continue to work on recovery to make a difference there. We also participated in the City of Dayton's American Rescue Plan process. We have been awarded a $100,000 grant. There are still some steps we need to go through to make that official and get a contract with the city, but with that funding, we would expand further into the northwest side of Dayton, that we have there in our current network. So very excited about that opportunity. I'm looking forward to working with agencies like the North State Partnership to kind of build on momentum and the resources that are being put into that part of Dayton. A couple other things to look forward to. You know, I mentioned we'll be looking to create more jobs. I mentioned the West Dayton expansion. I'm also hoping that we can use our Dayton chapter. I would be remiss if I didn't say that Bike Valley has advocacy chapters across the region in Centerville, Kettering, Springfield, Piqua, Yellow Springs. And this year we'll be launching a Dayton chapter. So hoping that we can do some promotion around Third Street Bridge, that opening, and the side path there that can use the bike, the new ramps, all that trail. So we're looking forward to that group getting their feet wet and making a big splash. That concludes my update.
Well, thank you. So I have to ask, I've never ridden on an electric bike. So when they request it, do they specifically request an electric bike, or do you show up and they're electric bike? And how do you use them, you know?
Yeah, so in the app, you can click on one of our hubs and it'll list out what bikes are available. If it has a percentage charge next to it, it'll say 98%, 56%. That's how much battery life is left on that electric bike. So you kind of know how many bikes are.
And how far will that take you if you had, how far will electric bike
So
go?
on a full charge, they average about 30.
Okay. All right.
We've had
Has
some ambitious
have you
folks
ridden
make
an
it out to the
electric
Air Force Base Museum on the Mad River Trail and back. So it's some of them peter out before they get back, and it's a lot harder to pedal when you don't have the assist on that particular bike. But people are enjoying having fun.
Oh, most definitely. I would think if you're even thinking about buying one, you might want to take advantage and take not a stroll, but, a ride on one of those bikes just to see how it is.
Yeah, I ran into a couple at Riverscape this summer that were waiting for their e-bikes to arrive. As you know, supply chains have been insane.
Yeah.
So, so they test rode a couple of our bikes while they were waiting for their e-bikes. They are growing in popularity, and shops are certainly selling here locally. They are a lot of fun to ride.
So do you think that when the pandemic is over, whenever sooner than later, people, do you anticipate that you'll kind of regroup? I mean, people will get back into the swing of it?
I hope so. I think a lot of that depends on how all this work from home stuff plays out.
If they're still at home, they might not need the bike as much.
Yeah, I mean, we asked people in our annual surveys if the riders increased why, and a lot of it is, well, I still work from home a lot, or I started working.
Okay.
We still have folks that are like, we love the program, we keep buying our membership even though we're not down. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it depends on a level of density in the court.
Yeah. Laura, I remember when this first kicked off. Remember we had the big hoopla down there at the courthouse square. We all got on bikes. It was the other commissioner, Dan Foley, Debbie, and we rode around town. That was fun. It was like, it was a huge, big deal. It was a beautiful day. It was a huge deal. Yeah,
we need that kind of energy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'd love to get you on a ride. I know,
Mr.
Colbert.
Yep.
Just need to get him on one as well. So,
yeah.
I'm hoping we can bring that kind of thing back.
Got new knees, so biking will be the next challenge, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you. Anybody else have questions? Thank you so much.
Thank you all. Appreciate
Absolutely. Great program.
Thanks, Laura.
All right. Now we'll go to the county engineer, Paul Gruner.
Good afternoon, Commissioners, Administrator, ladies and gentlemen. We have 3 items today. The first is Resolution 22-117 to authorize an agreement with Brumbach Construction, Inc. for the Philadelphia Drive Bridge Rehabilitation Project in Butler Township at their lowest and best bid of $2,595,424 through December 31st of 2023. And then we have 2 projects to advertise. The first is 118 Oxford Road Bridge Reconstruction Project in German Township at an estimated cost of $590,000. And 119 is Montgomery Dixie 16.87 resurfacing project in Harrison Township at an estimated cost of $1,350,000.
Move to approve.
I second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The juvenile court.
Thank you, Commissioners. Under Juvenile Court.
He's here.
Oh, I'm sorry, go right ahead.
Thank you, Commissioners. Good afternoon. We have two for your consideration today. Item 20, or Resolution 22-0120 is authorizing an agreement with the Montgomery County Educational Services Center to provide educational services and assessments for juveniles involved with the juvenile court schools in an amount not to exceed $27,000 through December 31st, 2022. And our last item, 22-0121, is amend the agreement with IBM to provide software and project integration support for the juvenile case management system and Watson Care Manager by extending the term through December 31st, 2022.
Move to approve.
I second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
County Administrator.
Thank you, Commissioner. Under County Administrator Clerk's Office, approve the minutes of the meetings January 18th, 2022. And Resolution 0122, approval of bills, list available in the Clerk's Office. And 0123, approval of travel and expenses, list available in the Clerk's Office.
Move to approve.
I second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Administrative Services, Tyler Small.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. We have a few items for you today. The first is 124. This is the approval of personnel actions. This list is available in the clerk's office. 125 authorizes a wage increase for all non-bargaining, regularly scheduled active BCC employees effective January 1st, 2022. 126 authorizes an agreement with Clothes That Work for interview-appropriate clothing and accessories, personalized coaching sessions, and work clothing for eligible clients of the Office of Reentry and the Fatherhood Initiative in an amount not to exceed $1,950 through December 31st of 2022. Resolution 127 authorizes the purchase from OnSolve LLC for Code Red subscription services for the Risk Safety and Emergency Management Department in an amount not to exceed $128,250 to December 31st, 2024. 128 rejects the bids for the 140-acre land lease for the Environmental Services Department. The next resolutions request proposals. The first is 129 for home capital funding project for the Community and Economic Development Department. 130 for household hazardous waste service agreement for the Environmental Services Department. And 131 is for website design and development for the Communications Department. And we would like to pull Resolution 132.
Move to approve.
I second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Environmental Services, Matt Hilliard.
Afternoon, Commissioners. Environmental Services, we have Resolution 133, authorize a memorandum of understanding with Butler Township for technical assistance related to water quality issues in the township. Resolution 134, amend the agreement with Blackton Beach Corporation for construction of the Sanitary, Conveyance, and Treatment Westbound Regional Project by adding $2,797,410.09 to the original amount for revised total of $3,932,307.09. And Resolution 135, accept the 20% performance bond for the Washington Phase Section 15 development in the amount of $65,164.08.
Move to approve.
I second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Human Services, Tom Kelly.
Thank you. I have one agreement. 136 will authorize an agreement with Dr. M. Lynn Loving, doing business as Family Practice Associates of Dayton, LLC, for physician services in an amount not to exceed $95,508 through December 31st of 2022.
Move to approve.
I second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Business Services.
Thank you, Commissioner. Business Services, Community Economic Development, of several resolutions for you today. 0137, authorize agreement with Rick Carney Consulting LLC to provide consulting services in an amount not to exceed $36,000 through December 31st, 2022. 0138 authorizes a delegation activity agreement with Miami Valley Fair Housing Center for fair housing services and the county's financial portion of the analysis of impediments to fair housing study in an amount not to exceed $117,020 through January 15th, 2023. And 0139, advertise a finding of no significant impact for Home Investment Partnership Program for the Trotwood Senior Lofts Project.
Move to approve.
I second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And under County Commissioners, we have Resolution 140, reappoint Stephen Holland as the Montgomery County Apiary Inspector for the year 2022 in an amount not to exceed $4,000. Resolution 141, appoint Peggy Lehner, representing the Mayors and Managers Association, to the Human Services Levy through December 31st, 2024. And our final resolution, 142, appoint Marietta Orlowski, representing Public Health, Dayton and Montgomery County, to the Human Services Levy Council through December 31st, 2026.
Move to approve.
I second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Do we have any comments by citizen? No comment? All right. So, Chris, do you have any comments on behalf of the county administrator?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner. I'd like to offer a shout out to Sarah Fields, our Assistant Director for Child Support. The Ohio Child Support Directors Association presented her with an award last week for 8 years of service in various positions, including 2 years as President of the Executive Board. She is currently dedicating her time as immediate past president. We appreciate Sarah's dedicated service along with that of our entire child support team. In 2021, that team started administrating over 2,800 new orders, fielded 72,000 calls and chats, collected just under $100 million to ensure the financial stability of Montgomery County families. Thank you for that important work, Sarah, and the entire child support team.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, bravo, Sarah. You represent us well. I'm going to bring up tomorrow's actually an important, or tomorrow morning, I should say, is our annual point in time count is taking place. Now, just imagine our homeless solutions team is going to be out in 4-degree weather. They are collaborating with our community partners to count the number of individuals who are unfortunately sleeping unsheltered. Can you imagine 4 degrees and there will be individuals out there? So our team is going out. This metric, we do this each year. It's so important in helping community leaders understand how many people experience homelessness. And it allows us to assess our efforts and improve our strategy toward ending homelessness. Now, this number will knock your socks off. Last year's point-in-time count found that 478 individuals from 417 households were experiencing homelessness. This isn't just a few people. This is far too many people. Counted people are primarily found in shelters, but we also count in several meal and service locations. It's always alarming what we find in this snapshot count. We know that many more individuals and families experience homelessness throughout the year. And I also serve closely with the Homeless Solutions Board and the whole team, and they do amazing work under incredible challenges. And while we do make progress, we have far to go when we have numbers like this. So let's hope the count goes down for this year. That would be a wonderful thing to see happen, but we can't forget those that sometimes seem invisible to so many others.
Mm-hmm. No question about it. And I helped on that point in time count many years ago, and it's an eye-opener.
I'll
You
bet.
sit down and talk to the individuals that get their background.
Their
and it's,
circumstances, why they're there.
Yep. As we all know, it's pretty cold out there, and several area schools, thanks to the COVID, have switched back to remote learning, and I know that personally because my grandkids had to go through that last week. Now, this can be a significant challenge for our families who rely on the free lunch program. I just wanted to remind everyone in that program that the pandemic EBT program is back for this school year. This program is for qualifying students from kindergarten through 12th grade who are either on remote or hybrid schedule are in quarantine due to the COVID illness or exposure, or have missed school days because of COVID-19 related building closure. Now, please be sure you are receiving this benefit if you qualify for it. Now, you can learn more at Ohio PEBT. That's PEBT.org. So please check that out if you think you qualify. And I have just one other thing to say, and that is, because it's going to be so cold for the next couple days, please check on your neighbors, seniors, anyone you know. Make sure they're okay. Speaking of the homeless individuals, as well as our little four-legged friends. For heaven's sakes, bring them in if you can, or if you can't, make sure that where they are outside is covered and that they're going to be okay. So,
Right, that they have water and.
yes,
all
and
of
water.
those.
And please make sure it's fresh water because that water will freeze quickly.
Absolutely,
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, so our next meeting will be
February
Tuesday,
1st.
February 1st
Can't
at
believe it.
1:30 PM.
Yep.
And I'll have a motion to adjourn.
Yep. Move to adjourn.
I second. We are adjourned.
Thank you.